Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mormon Atheist. All right, apostate congregation. Uh, Today I'm feeling a little under the weather. I stayed home from school today, uh, so I figured I'd bring you something. Threw together a little something, something from an author that we have already previously talked about. Okay, his name is Henry Caswall. I just recently did a video about him or about this same book, but we're going to do a different subject with the book, though. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the Great Greek Psalter Scandal. Okay. So is what this is this is a scandal that Henry Caswall, right? He is he is a minister. Okay, he's an angelical minister. So he hears about the Mormons and all this kind of stuff, and he has this opportunity, right, to go and meet Joseph Smith, right? So that's really what his entire book is about, right? The 3 day, the name of his book is The City of the Mormons, or 3 Days at Nauvoo in 1842 by Henry Caswall. Okay, now some of you might think this is a repeat video. It's not. We're doing a different subject. It's the same book, but a different subject. Okay, so which we're going to start doing a lot of these. Okay, because there's a lot of Mormon stories, a lot of Mormon scholarship, and is what I'm going to do with this particular presentation is I'm going to show you Mormon scholarship and what the book actually says. Okay, because uh, so before we get started, like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, this channel will never be monetized. So the only way you can support the channel is to subscribe, like the videos, comment, watch the videos all the way through. Tell your friends, read the books, all this kind of stuff. A lot of these books, most of the books that I talk about are less than 100 pages long. So they're quick, easy reads, but they're literally what Mormon history is based on. These books. So they're very much worth the read if you want to know the real history, the true history. Okay. So is what we're going to do today is we're going to show you what the cult history is, the institutional narrative, and then we're going to show you what the actual legit book says. Right? What does the book say? Okay, so the Mormon critics, they use words like purportedly, claimed, alleged, right? Single source, right? These kinds of words. These are the words they use to discredit the author. In this case, Caswall, right? Because Caswall, it's a first-hand account. His book, he literally is meeting Joseph Smith. He's standing face to face with this character, this person named Joseph Smith, right? Or let's say called Joseph Smith, okay? So when you look up Mormon scholarship, these are the kind of words, right, that you're gonna come across. Claimed, he claimed. Well, he doesn't claim anything. He legitimately tells you, right? He says, "I am a member of the clergy," right? Like he says all this stuff. It's not like he's not hiding. He's not like there's nothing that scholarship says that he duped Joseph Smith. No, he didn't. You know, he went to Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith knew, right? He had a meeting. It was an arranged meeting, and it's in the book. It literally says this in the book. So the stuff that scholarship, LDS scholarship, is selling you is total nonsense. Okay. Another argument, the single source argument, right? Caswell is the only source. Well, of course he's the only source because it's his experience. He's writing to you about his personal experience. So, of course, it's the only source, right? But how many sources in LDS history are single source documents? So we can reverse this argument all day long, apostate congregation. Do you understand? Right? So everyone is saying that Joseph studied the Greek, right? So it's implausible and it's unlikely that Joseph wouldn't have known that this is Greek. Okay, now we're going to get into this so you understand what I'm talking about. So stay with me. Okay, I'm showing you the nonsense that scholarship is feeding us before, and then I'm going to get into the actual book. Okay, so if you watch my videos, right, we go through and we talk about Joseph Smith all the time. And is Joseph Smith a real person? This keeps coming up, this theme. Okay, I cannot express that enough to you, apostate congregation. This theme, is this person a legit person? Is he who he is really saying he is? This theme is throughout all these books. Okay, and we're getting it's even in Caswall's book, right? And I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so how implausible is it that Joseph really legitimately studied Greek, right? I seriously doubt it. I highly am skeptical of that, right? So, but then they say it's via revelations, right? All this kind of stuff. They put it, the scholarship puts the, what's the word you want to call it? The angelic, and they put the faith right back into it, the theology, the angelicized, these kind of, it's by revelatory means, right? This kind of stuff, right? How implausible, if you want to use this kind of an argument, right? So how implausible, okay, is it that, you expect us to believe this kind of stuff that you guys, historians say, right? But then at the same time, you defend translating a book word for word on a rock, in a hat, in a dark room. And you want me to take you seriously. You understand? Okay. So scholars. Okay. So excuse me 1 second. My mason jar of coffee. I apologize, apostates. I'm not feeling very well today. So, okay. Maybe I've been doing too many of these podcasts. I've been doing I think this is my 5th one in like 3 days or something. Yeah. So maybe that's what my problem is. I need to get off the podcast. I need to get off the podcast. Oh, shit. Okay. Anyways, let's get into Caswall. What does Caswall actually say? Okay. So this is what he writes. Okay. I met up with Joseph Smith. This is Caswall talking. Okay. I met up with Joseph Smith at a short distance from his dwelling. Okay, also, congregation, I want you to listen to the wording of this. And then you go back to the Joseph Smith papers and you read those. The wording doesn't match. Okay, the wording does not match in the Joseph Smith papers. Okay, because all the books have a particular phraseology. It's the lingua of the day, right? And that lingua is not in the Joseph Smith papers whatsoever at all. Point blank, period. That's it. All right. Anyways, back to this. Let's stay on topic. I met up with Joseph Smith at a short distance from his dwelling and was regularly introduced to him. So he met him often. Okay. I had the honor of an interview with him, who was a prophet. Okay. A seer, he's a prophet. Now listen to this, he names off his accolades: a prophet, a seer, a merchant, a revelator, a president, an elder, an editor, and a general of the Nauvoo Legion. There's 10, and that's not even all of them. Okay. You understand how grandiose the outside world of Mormonism is looking at this guy and thinking, what in the F is this dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's going on outside of the bubble of Mormonism, right? Okay. Now he describes him. He is a coarse, plebeian person. Let me finish and I'll tell you what plebeian means. He was a coarse, plebeian person in aspect, as his countenance exhibits a curious mixture of knave and clown. I love that. I love the way these guys talk, man. Okay, plebeian. What is a plebeian? There's two words, two definitions for it. There's an ancient Roman definition and a modern time definition. They're both pretty similar though. So ancient Roman, the word plebeian, Plebeian, plebeian. In ancient Roman times, it's a member of the common people of Rome, okay, a commoner, as opposed to the patriarchs who were the elite aristocrats. So a commoner, a plebeian was a commoner. Modern times, something unsophisticated, crude, or lowbrow, often used in a slightly negative or dismissive way. That's the two definitions of a plebeian. Now, a knave, what is a knave, right? A knave is a dishonest or unprincipled man, essentially a rogue, a scoundrel, or a deceitful person. In older days, prior to the 1800s, a knave was a male servant. Okay. Isn't it interesting how these words change over time, right? But yet they still kind of have the same meaning, you know? I mean, what do we call a knave in the 1960s? You understand me? So he is a coarse, plebeian person in aspect, and his countenance exhibits a curious mixture of knave and clown. I love the way these guys talk. His hands are large and fat, and on one of his fingers, he wears a massive gold ring upon which I saw an inscription. I'd like to know where that gold ring is at today. Where's this gold ring at? Okay. His dress was, of course, country manufacture, and his white hat. This is an interesting little point here, apostates. Listen up. There's so much information in these books. There is so much information in these books. It's incredible. This is why I have such a hard time. Like, you know, it's fascinating. Okay. His dress was, of course, country manufacture, and his white hat was enveloped by a piece of black crepe as a sign of mourning for his deceased brother, Don Carlos, the late editor of the Times and Seasons. Okay, now that's kind of a side note. Now he gets back to Joseph. His age, about 35. This is in 1842, apostates. Is Joseph Smith a real person? I had not an opportunity of observing his eyes, as he appears deficient in that open, straightforward look which characterizes an honest man. That's huge. That is a huge statement right there, apostates. Because this kind of a sentiment is in all these books. This guy won't look me in the eye. This guy won't tell me where he's from. This guy won't tell me this. The people that meet Joseph Smith in these books, they all have this similar story. This guy seems like he's not representing what he is saying. This guy, and they're using language like this, like they're suspicious. This guy is not who he's saying. This guy is a character. This guy is this. Like they're suspicious of this guy. He's not representing who he is claiming to be, right? This Joseph Smith character. That is the sentiment that's in these books. And I do not know how to express that, how to bring that to the congregation. How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. But it's in all these books. This is why I made the video, is Joseph Smith a real person? Because the list goes on. Fraser Magazine. I mean, the list goes on. I could sit here and name 20 books just right now, and they all have this sentiment. This guy won't look me in the eye. This guy won't talk directly to me. This guy talks through somebody else. A lot of people never even see Joseph Smith. He has a correspondent. Somebody talks through him, right? He gives a message, and the messenger goes and then comes back, and this is what's taking place in these books, congregation. And I don't know how to like relay that to you. There's a lot of things that are in these books that I just simply do not know how to relay to you in a video format, or like in a, I don't know how to do it sometimes. This is why I am just like, here's the book. It's 80 pages. This book is, I think, 82 pages long. It's either 82 or 52. I don't remember. I just did a video on this book like a couple days ago. What is it? So the frustration, congregation, is legit, man. It's because I don't know how to say it, sometimes. I don't know how to bring it to you. So it's incredible. His age, about 35. I had not an opportunity of observing his eyes, he says, as he appears deficient in that open, straightforward look which characterizes an honest man. Okay, so then there's a couple of more sentences, and they end up going to Joseph's house, and he says that there's elders and bishops, and there's a bunch of Mormons, all this kind of stuff, and he's kind of describing it. Okay, so Caswall goes to Joseph with the intention. He has a book, okay, and this book it's a Psalter, right? So Caswall already knows what this book is. He already knows everything about this book. He knows it's a Greek book. He knows what it is, all this kind of stuff. And he is legitimately setting up Joseph Smith, right? And this is not secret. He's not like in his book. He's not being like, he's very clear. This is his intention. Okay, so scholarship is like, oh, this guy duped Joseph. No, he didn't. He called Joseph out, is what he did. He called him out. He directly called him out. Face to face, man to man, called him out straight up, called him out. That's what Caswell did. And I'm going to legitimately read it to you, okay? And there's sentiment here, okay? So he has the book. He's meeting Joseph, okay? Let's put this into context. He just got done describing you what Joseph looks like, okay? He has the book. Now he's going to give the book to Joseph. And he's going to say, Joseph, translate this book for me, okay? And here's what happens. He writes, I handed the book to the prophet and begged him to explain its content. He asked me, Joseph, he asked me if I had any idea of its meanings. He's playing stupid. Okay, but hold on though. It's not what you think. I replied, this is Caswell. I replied that I believed it to be Greek Psalter. Okay, think scholarship now. They duped you right there. They duped you right there. But that I should like to hear his opinion. Think scholarship in this. This is what these scholars are not telling you. They're telling you a line of bullshit. Okay. Let me read that again. I handed the book to the prophet and begged him to explain its content. He asked me if I had any idea of its meaning. I replied that I believed it to be Greek Psalter, but that I should like to hear his opinion. No, he said! Exclamation point. No, he said. This is Joseph talking. It ain't Greek at all. It's Egyptian. This is so important, congregation. What ain't Egyptian is Greek. Understand, listen to me. Listen to me. What ain't Egyptian is Greek. This book is very valuable. It is a dictionary of Egyptian hieroglyphs. Apostates, that is Joseph saying. That is not Caswell saying. That is Joseph saying. Your book, Caswell, that you have is a dictionary of Egyptian hieroglyphics. Scholarship turns that. Pointing to the capital letters, this is Joseph, congregation, pointing to the capital letters at the commencement of each verse. The first letter of each verse. The first letter of each verse. Think of this. What ain't Egyptian is Greek. The first letter of each verse. He said, them figures is Egyptian hieroglyphics, and them which follows in the interpretation of is the interpretation of the hieroglyphics written in the Reformed Egyptian. Congregation, that those three things right there, those paragraphs, is what scholarship takes and completely F's your brain with. Okay, and you can Google this. You can Google it. This is literally in his book, word for word. Okay, and you can get his book on archive.org. Like every book on my channel, all the videos, everything is on archive.org. Go and look it up for yourself and read it for yourself and then compare it to scholarship. Okay, we're going to get into the $600 here in a minute. What the F? What is $600? Okay, so you got to understand that that is Joseph speaking, not Caswell. Okay, it's a dictionary of Egyptian hieroglyphs. Okay, what is not Egyptian is Greek, pointing to the first letters at the commencement of each verse. Everything follows after, okay, is the interpretation. Just think of how dumb this is, all right? And this is the prophet, okay? God, what did people follow this guy? Okay, so uh, it's really just mind blowing. It's almost embarrassing that I even. This is a legitimate religion, congregation. People, millions of people follow this. Okay, and look at this, man. This is the prophet. He's telling this dude, your book in Greek is Reformed Egyptian, and each character of the first sentence is Egyptian hieroglyphics, and everything after that is the interpretation of the hieroglyph. How do you hold a straight? How do you hold a straight face and then have a scholar come in and explain this to you in a religious manner? And and then they say, well, you need to have faith. You need to have more faith, man. Just the ridiculousness of of this. Okay, let's get back to it. Written in the Reformed Egyptian, man. Okay, I'm having a hard time. Emotions that are going through me right now are comedy, disbelief, embarrassment. I am actually legitimately a part of this religion. I have apostatized. It's just stunning to me, and when you say this stuff out loud, like it's one thing to write this shit down and read it in a book, but it's a whole nother thing to say it out loud because you hear yourself. And that's what's happening to me right now is I'm hearing myself and I'm thinking how effing absurd this is that my family has shunned me because I'm an apostate for this. Okay? But when I go to their house, I'm the one that has to conform to this. I I mean just what do you say now? What do you say now? The absurdity is so incredible, man. Remember, apostates, what ain't Egyptian is Greek. That's Joseph's own words, man. Okay, he's telling you how he did this. He's telling you how he came up with these ideas. Think the character page. Think this kind of stuff. He's telling you, congregation. Okay? Okay, so Joseph goes on. He's not done yet. Them characters, you understand the language. Listen to the language and then go to the Joseph Smith papers. This is Joseph himself in his own words right here. Them characters is like the letters that were engraved on the golden plates. And then Caswall kicks in. Upon this, the Mormons around began to congratulate me. Okay, this is Caswall. On the information I was receiving. This is Joseph is so all the Mormons, you can just picture this. All the Mormons are standing around like, oh, and you can picture Joseph like, he's being all prophetic and shit, right? And he's like, and just this huge, I mean, picture this, right? In the 1800s, okay? they all gathered around him to congratulate what he was receiving, right? Um, and they all like exclaimed, "This is stuff only the prophet can claim. This is only the prophet can translate this," right? So Caswell goes on. The prophet turned to me and said, "Okay, you got to listen to this language. The language in these books is a dead giveaway to the Joseph Smith papers and how big of a fraud they are. The language is so important, congregation. These books are so important." Okay, I lost my play. I forgot what I said. Coswell goes on. The prophet turned to me and said, "This book ain't no use to you. You don't understand it." Coswell says, "Oh, yes," I replied. "It is one of some use. For if I were in want," okay, now this is where we get into the scholarship of the money talk, right? The $600, these kinds of things. Listen, congregation, because we're literally destroying scholarship. This is legitimately out of the book itself. This is not my opinion. This is not what I think. This is nothing. I'm reading you directly out of the book. Okay. "Oh, yeah," this is Coswell. "Oh, yes," I replied. "It is one of some use. For if I were in want of money, I could sell it and obtain perhaps enough to live on for a whole year." Joseph says, "But what will you take for it?" And his elders start kind of, murmuring, right? I mean, picture this. Picture this whole scene. This is a whole scene right here. Okay, think of a script, a movie, a TV show, right? Where this is a scene in the movie. Okay, "My price," Coswell replies, "is higher than you would be willing to give. Listen to what is not said, apostates, and listen to what is said. Compare it to scholarship." "My price," I replied, "is higher than you would be willing to give." Joseph says, "What price is that?" And now they're eagerly demanding, right? The murmuring gets louder. And this is in his book. I'm not making this up. It's in his book. Okay. I replied, "I will not tell you what price I will take. But if you were to offer me this moment $900 in gold, if I will not tell you what price I would take. But if you were to offer me this moment $900 in gold for it, you should not have it." Right there, right there. 95% of all scholarship on this particular subject just died. Do you understand me? It just died. That's it. It's dead. Conversation's over. That's literally what the guy says in his own book. $900 in gold for it. You shall not have it. Dead. Commotion ensues. Everybody wants the prophet to translate the book, he says. Then he says, Caswell, this is Caswell, having exhibited the book to the prophet, I requested him in return to shew, S-H-E-W, to shew me his papyrus. This is a major, 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 major subject in Mormon history. Apostate congregation, within 1 hour's time, me and you on this channel are going to completely destroy this scholarship simply by reading the book itself. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. We're just reading the book itself. Caswell goes on. I requested him to shew me his papyrus and to give me his own explanation, which I had hitherto received only at second hand. So, meaning he's already heard of the papyrus. Okay, he already knows the story, but it's secondhand. He wants firsthand. He wants Joseph himself. Show me the papyri and tell me what's on it. Okay, we all know the papyrus story, congregation. Caswall is calling out Joseph Smith face to face, man to man, and he writes about it. And LDS scholarship just destroys this guy and says he's not credible, he's not all this, and like, you know, and it's, you know, he's up to something suspicious. And well, no, he's not. He's very literal. He's telling you in his book what his intentions were, why he did it, what his reasonings were. The preface of these books is so important, congregation. You must read the preface to understand who's writing the book, what their intentions are, why are they writing the book. Okay? It's not what we've been told. It's not. The prefaces are like a page, 2 or 3 pages sometimes. Okay? To understand what you're reading, you must read the preface. Okay? Okay, let's keep going. It gets better, actually. So he's calling out Joseph. Okay, so now he says, Joseph proceeded with me to his office, accompanied by the multitudes. Okay. He produced the glass frames, which I had seen the previous day. What are the glass frames, congregation? Come on, spectacles. But he did not appear very forward to explain the figures. We're talking about the papyrus, okay? I pointed to a particular hieroglyph. This is Caswall talking, right? Now, picture this. They're in Joseph's office, okay? Log house. You know, he described Joseph. And now they're going into Joseph's office. He opens up the desk drawer. He pulls out the famous spectacles, okay? But he did not appear very forward to explain the figures. I pointed to a particular hieroglyphic and requested him to expound its meanings. No answer. No answer being returned. I looked up, and behold, exclamation points. The prophet had disappeared, he says. Fuck, can you imagine? Think of this. Think of this. Think of the con going on right now. Joseph is taking him to the, you know, think of the book. He has the book, right? These are reformed Egyptian, okay? And think of Caswall's mind. He's going there specifically to call out Joseph Smith, okay? So think of what this dude must be going through his mind, right? He's like, dude, you are so full of shit right now. It's impressive. You understand me? Pulls out, they walk across the field. They go into the office. He pulls out his spectacles. You know, it's all man-to-man meeting. They're all like on the up and up. And, you know, Caswall says, hey, that right? You know, what's that? Hey, what's that? Dude's fucking gone. Bolts. Imagine what's going through Caswall's mind right now, right? Okay. I looked up, and behold, the prophet had disappeared. The Mormons had told me that he had just stepped out and would probably soon return. Okay. This is Caswall. I waited some time, but in vain. And at length, I descended to the street in the front of the store. Uh, imagine this, apostates. I descended to the street in front of the store. Here I heard a noise of wheels, and presently I saw the prophet in his wagon, flourishing his whip and driving away as fast as two fine horses could draw him. As he disappeared from view, enveloped in a cloud of dust, I felt that I had turned over another page in the great book of human nature. There's your sentiment right there. Imagine this guy going through this. I mean, this is all taking place in a matter of hours, right? Maybe even minutes. 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, they're standing there shooting the shit, whatever, right? And behold, I looked up, and the prophet had disappeared. And now the guy's standing in the middle of the street watching the prophet bolt out of town. Scholarship, where are you? How come you don't say that? How come scholarship doesn't give that sentiment? Ex-Mormon scholars, where are you with that sentiment? You keep pushing the institutional narrative, though. This is much more interesting. It's a lot more fun. The fucking guy, he's a knave and a clown, right? He's a knave and a clown. He can't look you in the eyes, right? He's a complete imposter. You understand, congregation, what's going on here, right? So then, as Joseph is bolting off, okay, the end of this particular story in the book is all of the Mormons kind of come around and surround him, and they start asking him if he received satisfaction and all that kind of stuff. And then he tells everybody, "Hey, man, this is what was going on." And he tells everybody, "I'm a clergyman. I'm a this. I come from this. The book that I have is in Greek. It's a Greek Psalter. It's and he tells everybody, right? And it's just a phenomenal, fascinating story of how you can read these books, okay, and then you can read scholarship, or you can watch podcasts with Mormon historians or ex-Mormon historians, these kinds of things. And when you know what the actual book says, okay, you can see through what they're saying, their level of BS that they're saying, right? Because scholarship has twisted this story so badly. It's $600 that, or what, yeah, it was like $600, that, so scholarship says Caswall told Joseph, give me $600 and it's yours. Well, you apostates, you heard it right there. He never says, give me X amount of dollars and it's yours. He consistently says, it's not for sale. You're not going to get it. If you give me $900 in gold, you will not have it, he says. Right? So this stuff is fascinating, congregation. When you start to put together these things, and when you read these books, and you really get going in them, and we've been doing this for 2.5, 3, 2.5 years or whatever, right? So we've been reading a lot of books, congregation, and they all have this sentiment of Joseph Smith not being a real person. All of them do, and they use words like what Caswall did. He doesn't look me in the eyes. He's elusive. He's, things like this, right? It's these are very much character. Think of today, modern day. If you're trying to hide your identity, but yet, think of like movie stars, right? You're they're out in the paparazzi. They change their identity. They wear wigs. They do all this kind of stuff. Okay, but when they're with the person that they're supposed to be with, they take all that off and they are who they are, right? Joseph doesn't do that. That's when he's in full character, is when he's supposed to be meeting the people that he's supposed to be with. He's in full character. And I have a sneaky, sneaky, sneaky suspicion that Joseph Smith is multiple, multiple, multiple people. It's the name, the character, the persona, right? There's no one single person that was born and raised and grew up with the name Joseph Smith. It's a created name. It's a character. It's a character, right? And you get that through the books. You get that sentiment through these books. And there's hundreds of them. So it's not like, oh, you're reading one, or oh, that guy's this. He's a critic. Well, there's books that they're critics, different levels of critics. There's people that are just flat historians that are writing. They got no stake in the game. They're just writing history. There's people that have nothing at all to do with Mormonism that end up stuck in whatever town they're in for the winter, or whatever the case may be, lodging or transportation, and they're stuck in these towns, these Mormon towns, and they write books about it. These are the kind of books that we read on this channel, right? We read books from dissenters. We read books, as long as they're contemporary in the day books. We have a time frame that we keep to, congregation. The late 1700s to when Joseph dies. That's our main time frame. We read those books, the anti-Masonic books, the anti-Mormon books. We try to stay as close to Joseph Smith as we possibly can. We are trying to stand so close to that guy, we can smell his knavery. Okay? And then we go from after his death into like full stop, like 1890. We do not go into the 1900s whatsoever at all. That's a whole nother animal, a whole nother subject, a whole nother just thing, right? So, apostate congregation, arm yourself with knowledge. These books, take these books to grandma. Take them to your mom and dad, your uncle, and say, hey, read this. I'm sure your parents or aunt and uncle or whatever have a favorite story, a favorite, Mormon story. All of those stories are in these books, all of them. So read these books and say, hey, this is what I found out about your favorite story. What do you think about it now? Right? So, congregation, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have so much stuff to come out with. We have there is so much in these books, right? So we have a lot of stuff that we're going to come out with. So stay tuned. All of you new subscribers, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This channel will never be monetized. So the only way you can help the Mormon atheist is to read the books. That's it. Ultimately, that's it. That's all I ask you to do. And then you can like and subscribe and share and tell your friends, all that kind of stuff, to help me with my algorithms, because I want more people to see this And since I'm not monetized, I will never be monetized. It gets it out to more people. If you like the videos, comment. Tell me what books you like, what subjects you like. What's your subject? You know, what's the one you hang your hat on? What's the one that you know? Yeah. So this is a great. We're building a great community family, apostate family here, and it's so fun to watch because I've only got 500 subscribers, but there's thousands of you that watch that don't subscribe. I mean, I get tons and tons of emails all the time from a lot of you that say I can't subscribe because my grandma, or whatever, my mom will see it on my thing, or my wife, things like that. I actually get a lot of those. It's actually the other way around. It's my husband. The women are usually sending me emails saying that if their husbands saw this, they would freak out. So, don't get yourself in trouble. Don't get yourself in trouble. All right. Anyways, congregation, like, subscribe, share the channel. That's the only way to help us. Remember, congregation, in the words of the late, great Solomon Southwick. Who was he? Come on, congregation. Look him up if you don't know who he is. Watch my videos, Solomon Southwick. In the words of the late, great Solomon Southwick, the ashes of Morgan will rise, congregation. And here we are. Here we are. We are bridging these gaps. We're bringing these authors back to life. We're resurrecting these authors. These authors preserve this stuff for us, for today, for us today to read, right? This is like the new Great Awakening, the new Age of Enlightenment. Here we are. Here we are. This is actually predicted in the anti-Masonic books. This is actually predicted. Understand that. If you read the anti-Masonic books and understand what they're saying to you, that is the key. You must understand what they're saying to you. Those books are not about William Morgan. Get that bullshit out of your mind. Those books are not about William Morgan. He's a big part of it, but that's not what they're about. They are not about him. They are about speculative masonry. Okay? So that's Solomon Southwick. He's the one that exposed that. Okay? So he is kind of my hero, Solomon Southwick. I really enjoy Solomon Southwick a lot. He's a great, great author. Great author. Okay, congregation, I'm rambling now. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will talk to you guys again soon. And we are Morgan. We are Morgan, man. We are Morgan. We are William Morgan. We are William Morgan. So bridge that gap, congregation. Read these books. I'll see you on the other side.